You want to get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky!
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim?
Oh shit, that's right. That was actually that day we saw each other. That was the last day. I think that was my last set.
Oh shit.
I did. That was like the last time I did fucking stand-up, I think, in front of like human beings. Hey. That was it. Yeah, that was definitely the last day. Holy shit. Yeah. All right, let me introduce you. All right, everybody. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me clear something up. You sign up and put Steven Marcus everywhere, but you go by Marcus.
Yeah, I go by Marcus. I mean, Steven Marcus. I go by my full name, Steven Marcus Releford. Some people call me Mango. Some people call me Afro Steve.
All right. But you go by either. So Marcus, all right, I'll go with Marcus. Fucking, all right, here we got Marcus Releford, everybody. Fucking comedian, stand-up comedian. Fucking, we've seen each other out there back in the old days when we were allowed to gather and talk to each other. Yeah, it was a fucking different time. We saw each other right at the crest of, if anything, I remember that set, I was just scaring everybody about the coronavirus.
I know, right?
I was telling everybody to be scared. And well, hey, you know what? I don't take pleasure in being right. What the fuck, you know? But I was just kidding around. I was kidding. I didn't know it was gonna be like.
Bro, you hitting that shit right on the head.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was on my mind, you know. Fucking, but huh?
Did you riff that bit? That set?
Most of it. I mean, some of those were jokes I wrote and I tried or whatever, but a lot of it was just because it was so new. I mean, it's just you know what I mean? It was just happening. So I was just like, you know, I was just going off of like what I just felt like was out there, you know. But fuck, I don't know. I mean, hey, I don't know. I feel like the one thing that I know is that, like, I'm not sure that Acme Comedy Club is going to survive this time. I mean, like, I don't know how they're going to pay their rent, you know?
Man, you're right, because it was already looking pretty sad in there when we were
Yeah. I mean, if you think about a lot of those, like, black box rooms, they were all hanging on by a thread, you know what I mean? Like those improv class
next
places.
Stage got out right in time.
I mean, they had literally no business model.
None.
Like,
bro, you go in there and it would feel like a rec room, like the Boys and Girls Club, like the kids were taking that bitch over or some shit.
Yeah. So they were just losing money, keeping the place open and letting degenerates use it and then not making any income at all. Like, and it was a place, I mean, Next Stage, for everybody who doesn't know, it was basically an open mic, a free nightly open mic, which would only attract the worst type of people. In Hollywood, especially. Smack dab in the middle of Hollywood, like in La Brea and Hollywood and shit. Like, you know, I mean, that was the jam.
It was a
but
really fun mic.
It was great. I personally love mics.
Not in the sense of like fun as we know it.
No. I hate fun mics. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like mics that are popular and fun and everybody has a great time. It's very suspicious to me. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't seem right.
I meant fun in an upside down type of way.
Yeah, exactly. Fun as for a comedian in that you would see some crazy shit or usually the saddest shit. I mean, just really a lot of mental health issues and substance abuse stuff. But good hang. Good hang.
Outside smoking area.
Good hang. Great place to smoke weed. Great place to do.
It was sadly regulated at times when they had new security guards there.
Right. It was that gray area of like, this is legal, but you know, whatever. Like, fuck it.
Can't smoke right here.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go smoke over there then. I guess, I don't know. It's fuck, man. I feel like that we lived in a golden age, man. That shit, that whole time, up until literally March, whatever, when they shut it all down, it was like, that was the golden age, man, of mics, of just spaces, of venues where they let motherfuckers just come in and do comedy. You know what I mean? It was a bubble. Honestly, I talk about this all the time about like comedy was this giant bubble. And I was like, this can't be sustainable. You know what I mean?
It was such an interesting dark spot of possibilities. It was like a dark space of possibilities. Like, you didn't know what was going to erupt there. Anything can happen. homeless, houseless people can show up.
Yeah.
I've seen bad chicks in there, like women just walking in there that didn't know what was going on.
Oh man.
Always like interesting, funny people. Fucking what's the name? Who's that guy who's fucking coming off the goddamn coming out of the goddamn stage? You know, he'll do that bit where he'll come out the stage, come out.
Oh yeah.
Works for Tony Hitchcliffe right now. The Kill Tony.
Fucking William Montgomery.
William.
Yeah, where he go off. Yeah, man. I mean, well, that I love mics that are like holes, you know, like that are just like fucking people get scared of them or whatever, but that really attracts a certain darkness, you know, like it attracts a certain dark streak. Because I think that at least for me, that's the reason I don't want to do comedy is because I'm like a sick person, you know. It's not because like I want to bring joy to people or something like that.
That's what attracts me to Garage Mic, you know.
Right, exactly. Garage Mike was like Marty's was like that too for me. I don't know if you ever hung out at Marty's.
You know what? I wasn't a Marty kid. I went to Marty's like maybe once, but I never really got to hang out there. You know, for some reason I didn't like it as much. But really, it was kind of out of my way. To be honest.
Sure.
Like out of my
way. Yeah. Marty's was mad convenient for me, and for me, I've been like I came up. I mean, back in the day, New York. Like the open mic scene is like as brutal as you could, you know what I mean? Like the brutal shit you see here, it was just like that over there. You know what I mean? So that to me, that is very comfortable. Like, I don't know, it's very comforting to find like situations where it's not necessarily like safe for comedians, you know, like there's a little bit of danger, there's a little bit of sadness, a little bit of like, you know, cool shit might happen, you know, like uncertainty, a lot of fucking uncertainty, you know, like that to me is always the most fun. Wait, so where are you from originally, man?
I'm from California originally. I was born in Norwalk.
Okay.
And I was somewhat raised in Dallas, Texas for a while. I lived in Dallas for like from about 6, 7 to about 14.
Oh, formative. All right.
I moved back to California, and shortly after bouncing around a few areas in LA, I ended up moving to the Valley. And that's where I actually met Arthur Hamilton. Me and Arthur Hamilton went to the same high school out in the Valley.
Oh, Pacoima.
No, he went to Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
He's from Pacoima, yeah. But
where were you living in then?
I was in like Granada Hills area.
Oh, okay. All right. So you were I was in the Valley from junior high to high school. So and I was like Sherman Oaks and North Hollywood basically. So on the other side.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I lived on the other side too, off of Coldwater and Roscoe for a while.
Yeah. That I went to school at Sherman Oaks CES. That's like by Reseda and Victory basically. It was right by Reseda High. I don't know if you know where Reseda High was.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's literally across the street from Reseda High is my school. There's just some like weird rinky dink. It was like it's a public school, but it went from 4th through 12th and it was like super small.
Right.
So you went to Kennedy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're a fucking Valley boy. I mean, you're basically. I mean, your high school.
I've been around everywhere. But you're right. Like.
But
Valley roots. I got Valley roots.
Oh come on, man! High school in the Valley, that is super fun. You know what I'm saying? Like that you get turned into.
But you know, at that point, you already got like your "don't fuck with me." This is my attitude type of shit. You know, so. Like coming out of Dallas as a kid and then coming, you know, through different areas in LA, like you have your own like little energy, but for sure, man, like my formidable years, like some of my friendships are still tight from my Kennedy and Chatsworth days, but the same still like with my elementary in Dallas. Like I still keep in contact with people that I was in first, second grade with.
Yeah, what was it like in Dallas? I've only been to Dallas once, so I just have a very particular image of it and a feel for it. But what was it like for you?
It was mixed. Like I want to say the first part of my Dallas life was pretty fun. You know, It was like big exposed to dirt bike riding and fucking, you know, going fucking skating and shit and doing all types of wild shit with the neighborhood kids. And then the second part was like kind of more tragic. My mom had passed away and I moved to the hood.
Shit.
It was just like, you know, fighting and getting into all types of bullshit and trouble. And just like a whole new different perspective. And I was like in Oak Cliff, which is like one of the hoods. It's like the Compton of Texas, I guess, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was wild, bro. But I appreciated it because like I've kind of from a young age I've always had like this mixed experience of living in like absolute like slumdom
Uh-huh.
and then like ordering Postmates to the slum at the same time, you know.
Okay.
So, I'm like always seesawing in like lavish luxury concepts of like wanting the best of things.
Yeah.
Still experiencing the lowest of possibilities.
Well, that's interesting because even at a young age, just at what you just said, you experience a huge fucking contrast. You know what I'm saying? Like a huge upheaval in your life. Your fucking mom dying and then going from like living from what you remember. It sounds like you remember a lot of fun, having a lot of fun before that, and then after
it was
that,
like it went from like flying kites to my bike being stolen.
it's just like loss after loss, man. But I feel like that happening at such a young age that I mean, first of all, it fucks you up. I mean, of course, it's traumatic, but on the other hand, I think it gives you perspective, like you were saying, right? You can see both. You see what it's like to fucking live in the hood and then fucking, you know, like get out of there and fucking, you know, not be in it anymore. And I think something about that is conducive. Maybe it's conducive to comedy or just art in general, but I think the fact that you see both sides, it really helps you, or just a person, recognize like contradictions and shit, or hypocrisy even. You know what I'm saying? Like you could just see why, like, because I think if you're in one place your whole life, is really hard to empathize with anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just think that this is life, and then
I mean, I feel like traveling a little bit is kind of like similar to experiencing different food, you know?
Yeah.
Like you live in a neighborhood and they only have that one food. Like, and I come tell you about some fucking egg rolls or some fucking cheeseburgers, but you're only experiencing pasta your whole life. You're gonna be like, what the fuck is a cheeseburger? What the fuck is that? And I feel like you kind of need to have your palate. You know, you want to have different things on your palate, different experiences on your palate, shit like that. So that was just one of the things. I went from eating ramen noodles to fucking steak.
Well, I mean, I think that gives people perspective, man. I mean, that's really why, you know what I mean? Like, that's why so many rich kids end up failing, right? Because they don't have the same drive usually as their parents or whoever made the money in the first place, because they just had it. They just had it their whole lives.
Drive or perspective.
Perspective, yeah, totally. Well, I think one of the things I remember about you is not, I mean, aside from like in person, is sometimes I'll see you respond to posts on like the comedy fucking groups on Facebook or whatever, of people being like, hey, I think I want to move to LA to pursue comedy and whatever. And then you basically, you would just comment something like turn back or like, or there's no more comedy in LA.
Man,
and that's it.
I mean, I'm sure we share a similar interest, because for some reason I feel like the internet is only built for like a couple of things. You know, it's like, you know, looking at past relationships that didn't work out, you know, chasing new ones that might not work out, and trolling, you know, and you're just either you're trolling or you're being trolled, you know. So it's like, man, I find a lot of joy out of finding space to troll and like just make offhand comments and shit like that. I'll go into groups that are not even comedy related just to shake shit up, you know, just to go in there and fuck shit up.
So you like to just
my pastime.
Well, I just thought that it's just hilarious because on some level, I think that is the best advice you could give someone is to just don't come here, man. Just like
that advice was given to me.
Yeah. No, and I think if you're given that and you do it anyway, then that's what, you know what I mean? If somebody telling you to quit is all it takes for you to quit.
Were warned.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like that Chappelle joke about the brittle spirit, right? Like that about the lady that Louis C.K. jacked off on the phone.
Yeah.
It's like, if that makes you quit comedy, I mean, come on. You never had it.
Spirit.
Yeah, you never had it in you. You know, but I also feel like it's interesting to me you're talking about how like you had the contrast of eating ramen and then eating steak and shit. And I feel like that's the same kind of contrast that helps you tell somebody to like not even pursue comedy while at the same, you know what I mean? Because like it is actually what you're doing. You're not necessarily discouraging somebody. You're actually encouraging them. You know what I mean? But it's sort of in a contradictory fashion. You know what I mean? And I think
if they have the comedic spirit for
Yeah.
whatever it is, they will see that me trolling as an invitation. You know?
Yeah, exactly. If I was like you know, if I was starting out and you know, and I'm funny or whatever, and you said that to me, that should make me laugh. That shit is hilarious. So I think that like, but I think for a lot of people in LA, I feel like is a big. It might not be so different or whatever, but there's sort of the stereotype of the difference between New York and LA, where New York is like harder and LA is just nicer. You know, people are just nicer in general, whatever. There's a little bit in that of like, it's wrong to not support someone's dream or whatever, you know. Like it's not, you know, you shouldn't do that, that's his dream and he deserves to follow it. And like and
well,
like
I look at it too like, well, they asked, right?
Right, exactly.
If you ask, you open yourself up for various answers, you know. You ain't just gonna get the answers that you want.
Exactly.
You're not gonna get 50 comments. You're not gonna get 50 comments of people saying, "Yeah, I got a place. Come on out. I got you a headlining spot right now."
Yeah. Sky's the limit for you, friend. All it takes is the will. All you need to do is want to do it, and you can do it. Well, I think I don't know. I think it's like I think part of that is like this something, I don't know. Like I grew up here, so I get it. But because I went away and came back, it allows me to see it a little clearly, where I see it in the people. I see this behavior, and I'll never forget it, man. One time, a friend of mine was at a show at the Ice House, and I didn't even go up yet, but I think she got plastered. I think she got too drunk, but this dude, the host, was basically talking shit about Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And I guess, I mean, I don't know anything about it, but I guess he was making jokes that weren't like factually correct or whatever. So she basically was like, no, that's not right. She was basically like, I guess you would call it heckling, but she was basically just telling him he wasn't right. You know, it's like, no, that's not right, whatever. And then the guy, he like lost his composure. And instead of being able to like make jokes about it or joke his way out of it, he basically did this thing where he was just like appealing to the audience. He was just like, hey, come on, I'm really trying up here and you're heckling me, and come on. And then so other people in the audience started getting his back and being like, yeah, leave him alone. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was just like, oh God, I hate that shit so much. But the thing is that like in other cities that wouldn't fly.
That's even worse than like that's even worse than like the hacky heckle comebacks, you know, like, oh, this usually works, you know, or
I prefer that. That's way better. I mean, that is in fact if you got nothing, that's what you should do.
Just completely saying like, oh, I'm trying really hard up here.
Yeah, like you should take pity on me. Take pity on me, audience, and get on my side.
That's such a distasteful fucking taste in my mouth.
Is that right? Didn't that? Oh my God. And it just made me feel, yeah, exactly. It made me feel sick. I'd be honest. I was sick to my stomach. I'll be honest. With you.
I mean, not even someone who's doing comedy for the first time.
Yeah, the host.
I think they would even say some shit like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I haven't even heard, like, I've seen many comics go for the first time, and I ain't heard them, like, completely plead, like, in a sad way, like, oh, this is my first time. This is horrible. That's also,
but I think that's because they actually don't know that yet, that they can do that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Once they know.
That's the sad part, too.
Yes, that's why it's even more sad.
That an experienced comedian would take that pity route.
Right. He knew exactly.
It's available, but it's not used. It's not highly looked upon. It's frowned upon.
Well, not by other comics. Not by other comics, you know what I mean? Because that's not that. You might as well do a magic trick at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like you might as well just do something that's not comedy. Because if you can't joke your way out of that, because she straight up was not even heckling. I mean, that's the thing is that like he could have just been like, no, you're right, I don't know shit about the Kardashians. It's like, but why do you? Like, you know, he could have just done some shit like that. Like, you know, it's not a difficult problem. You know what I mean?
There's so
like,
many ways to move on from that.
yeah, there's so many, but I feel like something about like in New York, if you did that, the audience would turn on you. You know what I mean? Like everybody else would basically just start heckling you.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, but in LA Pasadena,
LA definitely has like that thanks for trying.
Yeah.
Give you an applause
just pity
trying.
sort of like, which is so I get it because I grew up here. Like, trust me, I get it. I grew up here. My dad made me go on auditions and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the only I feel like the only reason we do that is because the fucking Hollywood is here. There's a concept of like bright lights, audition, just like you said, auditions. We grew up in this kind of like, it's this background energy of like, you can do this as a way of making it here in California. And this is like a sought out job that many millions of people come out here for, you know? So like anything that replicates that, like getting up on stage, there's like a soft spot for people, for them, especially audience members. Not always like actually people in the industry, but audience members and people who are just like regular ass civilians, they have such a like soft spot for anyone who just tries to do it. I think because Hollywood is here in the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I'd feel that. Hell yeah. Well, also a lot of them want to be stars and stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of them want that, and that's why like I live in a neighborhood where at 8:00 every night on the dot they fucking start clapping and banging pots and pans for the essential workers.
What neighborhood you live in?
I live right by where like Bert's back room, basically, like that area.
Oh, that is strange.
And it's a weird ass neighborhood because there's like apartments. Like I live in an apartment, like a unit that's been carved up into apartments.
Is there a hospital or some shit right
No,
there?
there ain't shit here. There's just
How
rich
would you
people.
Be clapping for people? What people do you know to clap for or don't know to clap for?
It isn't about them. That's what I'm saying. It's not about the people. It's about the people clapping to feel better. But it's like, it really is. It's so that they feel better and then they all can do something all at once to feel like they're doing something. You know, just like when you buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you make a donation towards saving the environment. You know what I'm saying? So like you feel like you're just, you know, I'm helping. You know, you feel like you're helping. But like, I also just think it's like so fucking like, it's a lack of perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like if any of those people were an essential worker, you'd be like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this?
Clap, give me a check.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like just we were saying about like everybody being in Hollywood and everybody wanting to be part of it. You know, I think the majority of the people doing that are probably fucking like screenwriters and actors and artists and shit, because like to them the most amazing thing in the world would be for everybody to clap for them. You know what I'm saying? like,
I hope not.
No, come on. I know my people. I know.
I hope you are wrong. I hope you're wrong.
I swear to God. No, because that's why it's meaningful. To them, there's like, this means something, because imagine if everybody was doing this for me. That would be so wonderful.
I don't see people who are kind of in the industry being willing to kind of clap every day for nurses coming home. I don't see that as like desire of someone who kind of just already is familiar with the you know, the fucking lights in the show. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think your definition of the industry is like really strict, as in like they're like in the industry working successfully. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like for every one of those, there's 100 people who are like kind of by the, you know what I mean, kind of adjacent, kind of you know what I mean? kind of. And that's the majority of like, I would say the audience, you know, in LA. You know what I mean? The people who go to see stuff, the people who are like, you know, they have a little artistic streak in themselves, you know, they have a little bit of that. So I don't necessarily like, it's not like I hate them or anything, but I do think it's like, what it is it isn't it's not helpful to comedy. Like for the fact that that host knew he could appeal to the pity of the audience makes him a weaker comic. You know what I mean? It doesn't help him.
Right.
And so that's the thing I don't like. You know, that's it's more from just,
because now he's thinking. Now he knows. Oh, I can rely on this anytime I'm in a jam. instead of actually being creative and, you know, thinking of something that makes the whole fucking audience, you know, be on board on some shit as opposed
Well,
to.
first of all, like even I don't think that would work in a black room for sure. I definitely don't. That would not work in a black. You know what I mean? Like
no.
you couldn't go up there and be like, "Come on, guys!" Like, come on. Like
You
I
ain't
don't.
pleading with no black audience.
You know what I'm saying? Like yeah. Like any audience or any working class audience. You know what I mean? People who work for a living, like they're. You listen to that, you'll be like, "I thought this was your job, you fuck!" Like, what's going on?
Aren't you supposed to practice? You supposed to rehearsal.
Like we're supposed to help you with your job, like, like why don't you help me go fucking do this plumbing? Like fucking.
that makes me think of a thought though that I had. I've been for the past maybe like 3 to 4 years. I've been wanting to try to bring back booing into the scene. Like I want to bring back booing like it was in the 80s and 90s. Like how can we bring back booing? I feel like the booing is the only tool that the audience had to let you know whether they liked something or didn't like anything. But now that booing has been removed from the audience, there's really no checks and balance. And like you watch bad comedy in the 90s, they'd be like, boo. It's not that we didn't like you, just come back and do it again. You know, it was like it was just saying we didn't like this part. Like this is the bad joke or this isn't funny. You know? But those comedians continue to came back and they were better the next time, you know. But now we're just doing like this, just happy, like, all right, everything's good. And there's really no measurement on when you know when something's really bad. See, I feel like booing and open mics are good for knowing what's hacky. So if open mics disappear, we would never know what's hacky because people would just go up there and be doing shit. And booing was one of those straws, one of those foregrounds for the audience to actually be like, we're not on board, boo, go on, keep it pushing.
Wait, what? Did you fucking get booed at during your open micing days, or when did this ever happen to you? Because I'm actually all on board. First of all, I'm on board.
I've never been booed. I've been heckled for sure. I've been heckled.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never been booed or never had such a bad set on stage or you know, like an audience experience.
Boo.
This is just my experience. I think this is just my experience before I even got into comedy. I think what got me into comedy was because I was a heckler. I was out sitting being like, I can do better. That's not that good. I'm funnier than that. You know, I was already a class clown. And when I was growing up in elementary and middle school, you know, I was already known to roast people and fuck with people and shit like that, you know? So I started off like as a jokester, as a heckler, professionally, because I wasn't actually doing comedy, you know, so I just started off as a heckler. So I felt like booing is your weapon as an audience, and it is like your button. You know how they have these audience game shows and they're like, vote for this person, press this button. You know, that's like your button of saying like, I like this or I don't. I validate this or I don't validate this. And I think that's also the issue with people criticizing certain comedians, whether Dave Chappelle or George Lopez or the guy who was jacking off
Louis C.K.?
Yeah, Louis C.K. Like, I think they get these long articles and things written up about him, about how they talked about this and that. And it's like, who cares about all that? It's just the fact that booing is not like really involved in our system, you know? Like those articles wouldn't come out and those jokes would still be here. Like Dave Chappelle jokes would still be here, but those articles would have never came out if we've had like more control over the past few years of like how we feel as an audience member, what material makes us feel like what.
Well, that is there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of interesting stuff because first of all, I do agree that I think booing would improve things. But here's my angle on it.
Okay.
Because, what seems to have happened, you got three possible things. You got your laughter, you got your boos, and then you got your silence, right? And I guess what you're saying is that we should have a system of laughs and boos so that we get an accurate count of what's going on. However, what's going on right now is that silence is sort of what is, you either get laughter or you get silence, right? Like that's what happens. But I would say that the booing is more honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the silence is almost like
booing is like the pressure release valve.
Yes.
It's like a train. It's like a
Yes.
steam valve. So
Yes.
imagine the past 10 years, we haven't had a steam valve for
All
our
right.
performance
I'm
art.
with
We've
you
just been
there.
walking out.
Right. And if anything, being silent is kind of cowardly because it's like you're not facing up to what it is you feel, right? And you're kind of putting it on the comic to interpret that.
Right.
However, instead of honestly telling the comic you suck, you're like, you know,
And
like
you're allowing maybe some critic that has no really reference of you to try to be the face of your, disappointment.
right. But this is a dramatic shift in cultural consciousness you're talking about, because this would mean that, like, yes, there would be a system, the audience is comfortable booing and laughing, and then through comedy, there would be a fight between the boos and the laughs, essentially, until one overwhelms the other. And then when you report on it, that's actually what you're reporting on, instead of your own personal, how I felt when Dave Chappelle made the tranny joke or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, instead of doing that, you could be like, well, the audience was clearly split on this joke. It was half boos, half laugh.
and we noticed that anyway as comedians, because depending on your material, you're going to know, or you're going to feel the polarization of a circumstance or a premise or a joke that you do, or a punchline that you do. You're going to feel this polarization. You're going to feel the audience shifting whatever side that they're on the joke.
Yeah, and then you got, actually, I've heard this quite a bit, but people are saying that's what Trump basically does when he fucking does his speech. He's basically just like an open mic testing out shit. And then when something hits, he's like, oh, okay, I'll just keep saying that. Like, if he's basically just up there riffing. Like, if
I feel it, yeah.
if I could get, oh, fuck. But I do think, then booing, yeah. Well, I think, what we're essentially hitting on, and something that's actually tied to what we talked about in terms of trolling, and really tied to like what we're talking about with your childhood and shit, is just like the inability to see the truth, the actual, like, not even the inability. It's like people willfully, they want to hide themselves from the truth. You know what I'm saying? So they it's covering your eyes on purpose. It's like it's not speaking, not saying the truth. You know what I mean? Instead of telling somebody the hard truth of like, you suck, you tell them something else, or don't say anything at all. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that, you actually, that's what I think happens a lot with so like agents and managers and shit. When people don't book things, especially like white people, they'll be like, they'll actually say that. They'll be like, oh, they were looking for diversity, you know what I mean? They were looking for, somebody more diverse and I honestly, I think that, I bet you, I'll even go as high as like fucking 90% of the time, it's that they don't want to actually tell them that they sucked. You know what I mean? They don't want to tell them the bad news. And so it's just easier to be like, yeah, you didn't get it because, because then
you're not tall enough.
Yeah, I mean, because you can't say,
I can't do anything about my height.
You can't do anything about it, and then it's just like,
if you tell someone they suck, they can do something about them sucking.
Yeah, exactly.
They rather not do the work. We rather not do the work.
Well, we'd rather not tell the truth. You know what I mean?
I think it's two-parted. I feel like there's work that I got to do too, right? So if I got to tell you that you suck, that
true.
means somebody got to tell me that I suck, and I got to face the shit that I got
to. So it's the domino effect. It's just going to be a chain reaction of accountability.
Domino effect, right?
Yeah, it's like everybody's going to have to take responsibility. Fuck that. You understand? Everything can come crumbling down if that happened. Do you understand? Like, we got this entire thing is a house of cards built on confidence and just not looking back. It's just fucking running forward as fast as we can. Not looking.
Better on the other side of it for sure.
Oh, hell yeah. Fucking the light. Don't you see the light? Just keep running toward it, everybody.
Keep running.
Oh, fuck. So what are you doing nowadays, man? How you holding up? Are you just fucking chilling at home? Are you good,
bro? I'm good, man. I'm trying to get all these loans and these grants that they offering out here for this.
Yeah, free money.
Free money. I'm trying to work on it.
Yep.
And the first week of the quarantine, I was feeling good. That was the highlight. It was like all the jokes are going around.
Yeah.
What is staying in the house gonna be like?
Yep.
That was a honeymoon phase. That was my favorite part of it.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then I went into like a dejected stage where I was just completely was just really unmotivated,
Fuck this.
not feeling it, like just not part of it. It was funny too because like the first week of the quarantine, me and Just Vibes Collective, which is like the little collective I'm part of, we throw shows and shit like that, backyard shows. And it's Johnny Mac and Sunrise, my boy Sunrise. So we were like one of the first, if not the first, but we were like one of the first people to do a Zoom show like that first week of the quarantine.
All right.
Yeah, Arthur on the show and Niles on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like really giddy and really happy. I'm doing shows every day. And I'm asking like other people, I got Patton Oswalt's number. And it's like Samuel J. Conroy, Tony Baker, some other like big comedians and shit. And everyone was saying no. All these comedians were like, no. And then week 5, these motherfuckers are doing Zoom shows. And I'm like,
yep.
I thought you didn't want to do a show.
You were an early adopter.
But I'm okay. I'm in Vegas actually right now. I'm going back to LA on the 15th.
Oh shit, you're in Vegas? Nice.
So I'm in Vegas. Yeah, I got family out here in Vegas. So I kind of just posted up here for a couple of weeks. And just to try to get out of LA, change my scenery a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of bored of it now, and I'm ready to get back. So I'm going back on the 15th, and then who knows, bro? I'm probably gonna be doing more than I'm doing now, like being in the house and just ordering Postmates. Like unless LA opens up and you can really go out and do things, like it's gonna be tough. It's hard to decide like what is the uncertainty is just it's so overwhelming, man.
Yeah. I mean, I know Orange County opened up, so there's mics going on. There's mics going on in the OC right now.
Which is the worst place to have mics.
I know. Come on, guys.
They're trying to become like the comedy capital, and after the corona, everyone knew no one liked to go to OC for mics, and now they're the first place to open up. This is some conspiracy shit.
It's some bullshit. Well, you know what it is? It's that the people right now, the people who are going to survive this are the ones with money. So,
well,
the
that
OC
has been, bro, I've been thinking about that too. That's been like kind of like the backstory of this whole thing. Is like, are people really going to be able to survive? Are you going to pay your rent and not have food for the month? Like, are you going to decide what is going to go on? Like, what's going to
Well, what I don't get is like why that isn't like, because Wall Street was about to tank and they just unloaded like $1 trillion, 1.5 trillion. That was the first thing they did. They just fucking unloaded it into the Wall Street, into like whatever that means. Yeah. They just gave it to them, right? And then they're up to like 6 trillion now. But when it came to us, just for the people, right? It's a fucking fraction of that. 1,200 for everybody is a tiny fraction of the total that they gave away, and they fought tooth and nail over that shit. They spent the most time fighting over the shit for us because they didn't want to give us any. Like, well, one side pretends like they want to, and the other side says they don't want to. But in the end, we don't get shit.
I wish Victor was able to get a PPP loan for Garage Mic or something.
I know, fuck yeah, he should.
Man, because that was another thing. It was like they're giving us 1,200, but if you got approved for the PPP, bro, you're seeing like some numbers, bro. You're seeing like 6-digit numbers just to keep a small business up, and it's like, I ain't even got no employees. What the fuck? I don't even need this. It don't even cost this much money to keep the business running on a regular day. Versus like now, I got this big ass check. But yeah, they kind of screwed us with it. They kind of screwed everybody else with it. So like,
which is actually, that doesn't even make sense because that's gonna fuck things up even more. The last thing you want is the people. You know what I mean? Like the first thing you need to do is unload the money onto the people so that they don't fucking start tearing things down. You know what I mean? But like,
right. Because all it takes is me to miss a phone bill, and I'm already in the streets burning some shit. You know?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be able to do the Zoom. You know, I'll be like,
right, exactly. You cut off data. Imagine everybody's data got cut off. Imagine people fucking like, you know what I mean? Imagine there's fucking there might be a meat shortage. You know, there might be fucking like imagine there's shortages. You know, like fucking but I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like it's a crazy time because, for the longest time, everybody's been talking about like, all right, we got climate change coming. We got to do something about fossil fuels. We got to do something about this. We got to do something about that. We got to do that. Like all this shit was just piling up. And then all of a sudden this thing comes out of nowhere. Right. And then it's just going to force change. It's going to force, I don't know if it's going to be for the good or for the worse, probably both, you know what I mean? But it's just forcing motherfuckers to change. Things are becoming more digital because you have to. You're gonna be more fucking robots and shit. It's gonna get more sci-fi because you know what I mean. Like it's and I understand. I can get why the conspiracy theorists are all like this whole thing was planned so they could roll out all this shit and they could do all this stuff. You know what I mean? Because they sure didn't fucking. It's not like they took their time doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like at the drop, as soon as this shit started, they were like, "All right, we're gonna fucking everybody's gonna get scanned now." Like everybody, you know what I mean? Like we're all like we're people are down to sign up for biological passports, you know, fucking tattoos for your fucking commerce and shit. Like, you know, like people are just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's great. It's very interesting how like something can go down and then how much things seem to just kind of be like waiting in the wings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean like they planned it or anything. It just means these motherfuckers are just kind of waiting on opportunity.
Well,
you know what I mean?
that they thought about it. At least
Yeah.
they might have didn't plan it, but they thought about it, right?
Yeah.
Because
and honestly, it kind of, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like, why?
Right. I mean, when you're the ruler of the world, or at least you have the energy of people who are ruling the world, right? Let's just say there's 100 of you guys. Your mindset is going to be like, well, what's the possibilities that could take place as I'm ruling the world?
Yeah.
You know? You're going to think differently. So it only makes sense that they have precaution or they have some type of measures for something like this, you know?
Well, I think they're also like, if you look at shit, the shit China has, they have this stuff where they have like the cameras everywhere. They have facial recognition, and they also can take your temperature and shit like that. You know, and I think a disease is the perfect excuse to be like, yeah, we got to start putting in these cameras everywhere to track people, you know, for fevers. Yeah, to see if you have a fever.
And let's ticket them $1,000 if they do got the fever.
Exactly. Well, that's what they do. You know about it in London, right? They have cameras everywhere for on the highways and shit. And if you violate any law at all, they just fine you automatically. The cameras fucking catch that shit. So that means like you cross the double yellow lines and shit, or even touch them, like there's a sensor and a camera and shit. In fact, they just fine you for it. You know what I mean? Like that's how they make their money now.
Right.
So that'll be, imagine that, but just for like things like, you know, just littering or saying bad words or something. Yeah, like having a bad set. You get fined.
Stay in jail.
So fucking, you're in Vegas. What's Vegas like? Vegas must be empty as fuck.
Vegas is lax. Vegas is much more lax. It's empty, but I'm like maybe 15 minutes from the strip. The strip is all completely shut down. There's nobody on it. There's no hotels open or anything like that.
Whoa, yeah.
So, like all the restaurants just opened up at half capacity, like the other day. So there are
half
people to go eat inside. So you can go eat inside at 50% capacity at whatever the spot is.
Oh, okay. Damn. That's, dude, those restaurants are going under, man. There's no way you could survive on that.
Well, it depends because, like, I've been doing hella Postmates myself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I've been ordering hella food. So, like, the delivery services have been popping. I'm sure there's been a lot of restaurants that have failed or that are failing, but there's been a lot of restaurants that have probably gotten more business just because, you know, if you're told to stay inside and, you know, you're not really cooking food and shit like that, you're just going to be ordering food. I've probably spent like over $400 on food delivery. And that's just the nature. That's just the reality of the situation.
Yep.
I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to fuck up the kitchen, or I didn't have anything to cook, you know? So it's like,
yeah, soon they'll just have a robot delivering it and then everything, problem solved. There's no infection. There's you know, there you go.
I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to roll in like the automated, you know, robots and shit. Like,
oh, wait. Oh, so you haven't been here. They got that shit in LA now. They had little Amazon robots.
Oh, I haven't seen them.
Yeah. They just roll. They just
seen Howard Berger. Actually, I seen Howard Berger, an old comedian, white dude. He posted some shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they have those all over. These little delivery bots. So it started, man.
Strange.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Uh, so if I get okay, so you can still weed is still is that essential in Las Vegas? You still getting weed out there?
I think weed is essential, but I think there's only like it's not like the weed shops in LA. There's a weed shop kind of like a liquor store on every other corner. You know, you can find a weed shop. But here, it's like maybe a handful of them. There's a few of them, but there's like a handful. They're kind of out in the distance, and I think whatever like laws or statutory shit that they got going on or whatever, like they're only doing like either drive through or you know they're coming out to the curbside and dropping it off. And you're still paying like damn near $60 for an eighth out here, bro.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Holy shit! Oh, I would think for sure that they would. I guess not. No, it makes sense. It's tourist money. That's fucking.
I mean, there's some places, you know how it is. All you gotta do is just like finesse it. So you go in and you be like, well, y'all got anything else in the back? You know, you got anything else cheaper?
Right.
You know what else? And they will hook you up with some shit. But man, like mostly all the shit on the shelf is expensive.
Yeah, I don't fuck with stores anymore, man. I don't go to any store. I find either trap houses or fucking trap delivery. That's where it's at. It's fucking they have like websites they're not on weed maps and shit. You just kind of like end up finding them through text or website, and you get good deals, man.
Oh, can you say that again?
Oh, sorry. I was just saying I don't mess.
Keys.
For what?
Hello.
I'm gonna check them out. That's my sister.
Hi. Oh, hey.
Hey.
What were you saying, Roger?
Oh, no, I'm just saying I don't like to go to those stores anymore. I think those are they're traps. They're like tourist traps. You know what I mean? They're just there to, because you're just paying for all the packaging and shit. That's what you're paying
for the packaging. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fucking real weed smokers, like they're all going to the trap shops, the places that get shut down by the cops, or they go to the I have a delivery service that I found that's like off the grid. It's like, you know, basic. I'm sure it's like gray market or black market. You know what I mean? It's probably not legal, but the weed's good and the fucking prices are good.
Is that the one that Coke does?
No, I don't see. Like, I don't do that shit either. That stuff's also like a scam. The like green door, grass door shit, and the whatever. Like,
yeah,
they're just selling.
He was telling me he had like a $50 ounce delivery.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about House of Ounces.
Yeah, House of Ounces. Yeah.
That's exactly the kind of store I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like a shady like delivery service. Yeah. Those are the best Those are the best ones.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Fucking, I'm about to wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Looks like you're also on your way. Going somewhere.
I'm just outside. I'm going to.
Oh, damn! It's sunny as fuck out there. Nice. Yeah. I love that fucking southwestern suburban sprawl. You know.
So it's like little to no foot traffic. You know, it's like less hectic. There's nobody outside or anything really.
Oh man, that's nice. Look at that fucking sun. It's just all those fucking the track housing.
Right.
Some good shit.
Man, Rojan, I want to thank you for having this podcast and keeping it going, even though in the light of this darkness, you've been giving some people some hope and shit like that. And I've been seeing some of my comedian friends on here. So I appreciate you keeping this shit going and still feeling inspired during these COVID times.
Whatever. I haven't changed at all. It's the whole thing. It's like I've been doing this before. All this, nobody cares either way. It's fine. But I wanted to catch up with you to see how you were doing. I thought it would be an opportunity with all this Zoom. Everybody's Zooming now, so fucking be able to just catch up on people and see where they're at and stuff. But hey, you know that there's actually this drive-up mic in LA. You should look it up.
I seen some people at it. Yeah, I'm looking to check it out once I get out there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it this Saturday. So once you get out there, you should check it out, man.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, shit, I'll link up with you. I'll hit you up and see, what your schedule's like, and then we'll hit it together.
All right, man. Hey, you want to tell people about like Just Vibe Collectives or something, or like you want to just plug something?
Yeah, I mean, Just Vibes Collective. That's our page. That's our name right there. So you can find us on IG, and just stay tuned. There's not much to promote right now, but we have videos. We have a skit that we're going to release soon. And we're looking for some more shows be some underground like speakeasy type shit. But
Uh-huh.
as Collective is the Collective. Follow me there or get a hold of me on Drake's Cousins Are Funny on my IG.
Cool. And what about Stephen Marcus Releford on Instagram or any of that? Is that still your account, or are you not on that?
What's that? Say that again.
Oh, what about Stephen Marcus Releford on Instagram? Is that still you, or are you not using that anymore?
I don't think I have a Stephen Marcus.
Oh, no. Fuck it. It was on Facebook.
That's
It's
my
on
Facebook.
Facebook. Oh, okay, that was on Facebook.
My Stephen Marcus Releford is on Facebook.
Wait, what was it on Instagram again?
Drake's Cousins Are Funny.
Okay. All right, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, Rojan.
All right, dude.